Good evening and welcome to the Daily Voice, presented by VNN, bringing you today's top 5 Canadian news stories on July 22, 2025. Let's get started. Canada's surging international student program is now under official review. The Auditor General will launch a formal audit into how the federal government managed the explosion of student admissions and its fallout on housing, youth employment, and asylum claims. With over 20,000 international students filing for asylum in 2024 alone, and numbers rising, critics are calling the system broken. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre blames loose immigration controls for job scarcity and housing pressure. Prime Minister Carney has acknowledged the strain and ordered a policy reset. The audit's final report is expected in 2026, and it could reshape how Canada handles international education. Prime Minister Mark Carney is stepping up efforts to stabilize Canada-US relations. On July 21st, he hosted a bipartisan group of US senators in Ottawa to discuss trade, border security, and continental defense. The two sides emphasized their economic ties, with Carney reaffirming his goal of securing a new deal that protects Canadian interests. Talks included updates on steel industry reforms, as well as joint plans to fight fentanyl trafficking and drug smuggling. More negotiations are expected this week in Washington as both sides work toward a broader agreement. Ontario Premier Doug Ford isn't holding back. Ahead of a federal provincial summit in Muskoka, Ford urged Prime Minister Carney to match Trump's proposed 35% tariffs with a dollar-for-dollar response if a new trade deal fails. With an August 1st deadline looming, Ford said weakness would invite economic disaster and emphasized Canada's leverage through resources like Ontario's auto parts and Alberta's oil. He also announced Ontario would begin shifting to domestic steel production in anticipation of long-term trade instability. Ford's message is loud and clear: Canada must defend itself or get steamrolled. The trade war just got personal. US President Donald Trump has reportedly called Canada mean and nasty in response to growing boycotts of American products and travel. According to the US ambassador, Trump believes Canadians are punishing the US unfairly for the current tariffs, which already include 25% duties on steel and aluminum. New threats include tariffs as high as 200% on pharmaceuticals. In return, Canadian provinces are doubling down on local shopping and cross-border bans. With August tariff deadline approaching, Trump's rhetoric signals even more friction ahead. Peel police have taken down 2 major criminal networks linked to brutal home invasions and jewelry store robberies across the GTA. Dubbed Project Night Train, the operation targeted 17 violent incidents dating back to May 2024, including a shooting and a hit-and-run involving stolen vehicles. One victim was shot in the chest during a Mississauga home invasion. Another was run over. The investigation led to dozens of arrests, with charges laid for armed robbery, conspiracy, and attempted murder. Nearly $2 million in stolen property was recovered, and police say the networks are now fully dismantled. That's all for today's top stories. Thank you for joining us on the Daily Voice, presented by VNN. Stay informed, stay engaged, and we'll see you next time.